Hello, my name is John and I am making this video to introduce to you the petition to Theresa May, Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, to trigger Article 50 now with no more delay. I'm going to briefly run through the petition and then I'll make a small personal message, and then if you can sign a petition and get this shared as widely as possible. So the text of the petition reads: trigger Article 50 now, no more delay, for attention of the Right Honourable Theresa May, Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Trigger Article 50 before March the 31st of 2017. The British people have voted to leave the EU in the referendum held on June 23rd, 2016. The British government will implement what you decide. Link. David Cameron promised to trigger Article 50 on June 24th, 2016, if Leave won the referendum. He lied and resigned. You then became Prime Minister of 13th July 2016 and failed to enact that promise in a timely manner. Gina Miller, fronting for establishment Remainers, has further dragged out and delayed the start of the Brexit process by taking advantage of that delay to launch a vexatious and fraudulent court process. This has pretended to be about due process and sovereignty, but really, as her own organisation admits, has been about seeking to prevent Brexit occurring. This campaign has failed to prevent the people's will being confirmed, first by Parliament and now by the House of Lords. Now Miller vows to continue costing our nation a fortune, and we link that with Westminster. The people agree, Parliament agrees, the House of Lords agrees, Article 50 must be triggered. There are now no more legal or procedural impediments to triggering Article 50 now. Since June the 23rd, 2016, 265 days have passed. The UK's net annual contribution of £13 billion means the UK has already had to pay nearly £9.5 billion, that we otherwise would not have done if David Cameron had kept his pre-referendum promise to trigger Article 50 the next day. The antics of Gina Miller have certainly delayed Brexit long enough to cost in the region of £5 billion. These are resources desperately needed in the NHS and social care for the elderly, and their waste is shameful. We notify you that we the people are aware of these facts, and we now demand Article 50 must be triggered before 31st March and regardless of the wishes of the EU. We ask now only that the UK government fulfils its promise to the British people. We therefore urge you now, for the good of the nation, to keep faith with the people and avoid even more economic and social costs of continuing uncertainty harming society. Get it done. Trigger Article 50 before the 31st of March 2017. Okay, that's the petition message. We're doing very well so far. We've nearly 350 plus supporters in a very short length of time, and the petition is growing very quickly. In terms of a campaign message, I want to make it clear that time is of the essence. This is our opportunity to use our voice to make a splash and to widely share this across multiple platforms: Twitter, Facebook, email, whatever you got. Because it matters that we now make sure our voice is heard, because we've been ignored, haven't we? You know, and it's not as if even now, 9 months later, the UK media is giving Leave and the Leave campaign and the wishes and ideas and hopes and plans of Brexiteers a proper fair hearing. Instead, they keep on with their debunked fake news points, and that's not a good thing. I want to also say that I've been an independent campaigner for Brexit since 2009. In fact, my campaign to get us a referendum started the day before Gordon Brown signed the Lisbon Treaty, which of course he did using royal assent without a mandate, because New Labour was elected on the firm promise, manifesto commitment to hold a referendum on the Constitution, as it then was, and because this was rejected in other European countries, the EU brought it back as the Lisbon Treaty. Everybody was completely discombobulated by a credit crunch. Nobody was really focused on the bigger issues and what this treaty meant. There was no proper national debate, and it was clearly an attempt to con us out of our own country from a man who sold our gold off at a rock bottom price and told the whole world exactly when he was going to do it. Sort of economic genius Brown was. We are a grand coalition of passionate patriots, and we have had to break through in the last 7 years walls of abuse and vile insults. We've been called racist, we've been called fascists, we've been called everything under the sun, when we simply believe that this country should be governed from within this country by the people of this country for the benefit of the people of this country. You would think that was somehow radical. But we had this vote, and Cameron broke his promise to us, but he was going to trigger it on June 24th. I don't think anyone was particularly surprised about that. Then when Theresa May became Prime Minister, she's delayed it, and then we've had all this Gina Miller mischief, which has never been genuinely about constitutional issues. For one thing, Lisbon was signed with royal assent, so the proper procedure would be to leave that treaty with royal assent, and the issues of the sovereignty of Parliament could have been sorted out after Article 50. There is no reason to delay this through the courts at all. Also, her own organisation admits that they actually hold the aim of trying to keep us in the EU. When it looked like Theresa May might actually go ahead and trigger Article 50, and Gina Miller rushed to the courts with her £200,000, whether that was actually her money or not, we're not sure. But she said that this was outrageous and that it was an issue of sovereignty and it had to be challenged. And we've jumped through all her hoops. The court has had its say. It's gone back to Parliament. Parliament has had its say. It's gone up to the Lords. The Lords has had its say. It's gone back to Parliament, and Parliament has had the final say. And her response, after all of that process that she insisted we had to have, is that by rejecting her agenda to stop Brexit, that Parliament has committed an act of war. That's a direct quote from this lady, who really doesn't seem to get it, and owes this nation an apology for the squandering of the national wealth that she's been directly responsible for, both in terms of the extra membership fees we've had to pay and in the delaying of us being able to sign our own trade deals and grow our economy. So it's at least £5 billion. She's probably cost us more like £7.5, £10 billion. Who really knows? But it's for people on the trolleys at A&E. It's for people who are struggling with poverty, mental health issues, with social breakdowns. For people paying the costs of EU mass immigration, who are really Gina Miller's victims. So we expect progress. We expect it now. We're not into any more delays. There's no reason for Theresa May to be setting fire to 50 million quid a day, refusing to get Article 50 done. And we're people who believe there's a strong future, a strong, bright future for free Britain as an innovative trading country, standing for our values of freedom, prosperity, equity and justice. And I'm with you every step of the way, because united we will succeed. Thank you for listening to this message. Please share the hell out of this petition, and I look forward to talking to you all in comments and getting this done and making a big splash so that the nation knows we haven't gone away. We've been watching what's been going on. We're not impressed, and it's time now that the government delivered on its promise. I thank you. John White out.